So what do I have here today? Nissan Elgrand E51 luxury MPV. Let's talk more about it. Two engine sizes, the 2.5 and the 3.5 V6 petrol. No turbo diesel option. Real shame. You also get the option of rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. This particular one, 2.5 four-wheel drive. The 2.5 generates 190 brake and the 3.5 is 240, but they don't feel like it. Mile per gallon, the 2.5 is around about 25 to 30-ish. The 3.5 a little bit lower at about 22 to 25. There's several different trim levels on offer, from the VIP class at the top, the Rider, and then to the Highway Star, which this is, and then the offshoot from the Highway Star, the Autotech Special Edition, which has an extra set of skirts, a different front bumper, and a chrome set of wheels. These are nice options. You know, the Autotech is probably the most popular to import in the UK. It's got a camera in the wing mirror. It's great for seeing what you just crashed into. It's nice and sleek the way they mounted it. The reverse camera up at the top. And the rear wiper. Damn it, where did that bin come from? Electric sliding door. But only on one side. Don't ask me why. All the seats are on runners, so you can set exactly how much legroom your passengers get. My advice, as little as possible. With it being an import, the indicators are on the right hand side and the wipers are on the left hand side, where they should be. Hey, there's little storage nets where the sun visors are. That's pretty cool. Elgrand owners bringing these things in from Japan may wonder what this is. It's not important, ignore it. So even with all the seats up and everyone's got legroom, look how much space you get. Your Zafira or Galaxy can't do that. So what do you do when you don't need the back seats? Do they fold into the floor? No. But something else happens. What's this? Then you pull the lever on the side, fold it flat, you pull the notch at the bottom, and the whole seat lifts. Pop the clip in, fold the leg down, and you're good. And there you have it, plenty of space. A couple of design flaws when the seats are in this layout. The middle armrest is on the outside, and the outer armrests are on the inside. It doesn't really work. Worse still, this seat belt can't be used anymore. So what do you get instead? You get this funny little lap belt. If you can't tell what's going to happen, I'll tell you. They get stuck in the doors, they get stuck in the runners, and they get tied around your legs. Bad design. What annoys me even more about that is the fact that on the previous model to this, the E50, they actually had pre-tension lap belts. So they did it right the first time and then screwed it up the second time. Makes no sense. I guess let's turn these seats around, right? Button on the bottom, twist and swivel, lock in. I'm going to do the same on this side. Levers right here. Push the button. And round it goes. Simple as that. The rear bench here is supposed to seat 3, but I wouldn't like to be the guy in the middle with the lap belt. So let's have a cup holder count, shall we? Down here in the front, 2. In the middle row, 4. Plus the 2 in the side sliding doors, 6. And finally, in the back quarter panel for the rear seats, 2 on each side, making 10. That's weird. There's only 8 seats. Why 10 cup holders? This roof light might look fancy, but it's really dull. In low light conditions, it's practically useless. Some upgraded bulbs might help. You get some nice rear electric windows on this old switch down here. That's nice. That's the clock up there at the front. Reads Japanese time anywhere in the world and you can't change it. Too bad for you. Okay, that's a lot of buttons. What do they all do? Stereo system, climate control, infotainment for the screen here, and gearbox controls. And that's obvious what that is, so I won't even bother. Yeah, that stereo is pretty dated by modern standards. I mean, that's a mini disc player. Trouble is, it's really expensive to change these. The fascia panel alone is about 57 quid, then you also need the wiring harness and then you need the stereo itself. Worth doing though, it's a nice mod. Sadly, getting it to work on that screen is a bit of an issue. The Elgrand Owners Forum can tell you more about that. Bright orange clocks. There's two lovely pockets down here. They're not much use for anything. This one you can't fit hardly anything in, and this one, when the door's closed, you can't even access it. Real problem. And this one, you can store lots of pens, and not much else. I'm not a fan of this plastic wood trim. I guess some people would like it, but I think it's a bit fake. And these switches should have been chrome, the same as the door handle. A missed opportunity. More plastic wood trim. Oh, come on guys, it doesn't even look like real wood. Center console area is pretty useful as far as these vehicles go. That nice little tray is kind of handy, but they're easy to break. Storage area is plenty of room in it, not half bad. And the cup holders I mentioned on the before are on the back there. Pretty standard, but I thought I'd mention it. Pockets in the back of the seats. I mentioned the sliding doors before with a cup holder, but there's also a pocket down there and an ashtray. Like anyone uses ashtrays nowadays. The chrome door handles are a nice finish, but it's the only thing on the door that's chrome. It looks out of place. So how does it feel up here? It's comfortable, you've got the armrest and everything, but the seat feels slightly too small for me. And at 5'8", I'm not the tallest guy in the world. So the gear selection feels smooth and to drive, no problem at all. She rolls nice and easy. It's got a good feel to it. The steering's very soft and very light, but the turning circle's not very good, so I guess you need it. She might be registered as 190 brake, but it feels more like 140, and it doesn't matter whether you have the four-wheel drive active or not. She seems to accelerate the same. 0 to 60 time is slightly faster than that old cement mixer lying in the back of my garden. Not very fast. When you're up to speed, the road noise is quite low. It's quite a smooth ride. It ain't too bad. But you feel a lot of things in the road that I think you shouldn't do. I mean, this is a luxury MPV, it's not a sports car. I don't want to be able to feel the potholes, I want to glide over them. These vehicles were manufactured between 2002 and 2010. At the very beginning they would have been revolutionary, but near the end of their lifespan they'd have been sorely lacking, even with upgrades like the reverse camera system and the 360 parking camera system that came in 2008. The switches on all the panels feel relatively high-end, and there's not a lot of rattles and bangs for its age. There's a lot to be said for that. So how does this stack up to the competition? In some ways it's better than the previous model, the E50, but in many ways it isn't, which is a real shame. So how much can you get these things for? Well, it's 2019 now. This is a 2005 model, so I would normally expect to pay around about 6,500 to 7,000 for a good one. You can get ones less than that, but you take a risk. Getting parts for these things isn't the easiest thing in the world. Not as bad as some other vehicles, and the support is great from, say, the Elgrand Owners Forums, which I highly recommend you join if you're interested in one of these. They've helped me out a great deal. So let's discuss the bad points. The mile per gallon isn't ideal. There are some design flaws here and there. The looks are down to taste, but the positives kind of outweigh that. So let's talk about the good points. They outweigh the bad points a great deal, including some of the bad design issues. The price is excellent, the tech is good. You typically get low mileage and very good condition versions. Some of the competitors that you might consider as well would be something like the Toyota Alphard or the Honda Elysian in this stuff. If you want to go slightly further down the bracket, you've got things like the Serena or the Previa or other such vehicles. I'll try and cover some of them in later reviews. Hopefully I've helped you decide whether or not an Elgrand is for you or you'd want to find out more. If you like what you see here but didn't like some of the design flaws, it might be worth checking out the E50. Personally speaking, I think it looks better and it feels better to drive, but that's again down to personal preference. Stay tuned for the next video, which I will be doing on the E50. And my apologies on my delivery, I'm quite new at this. I'm still getting used to it. But anyway, till next time, enjoy yourselves.
So yeah, this one's not a new video. This was my very first one ever made. Just this time I fixed all the problems that happened during the editing process. So the video's a lot sharper. I've added the intro and the outro, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this new version, don't bother watching the original. But if you enjoyed what you saw there, hit the like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out some other stuff. I've done a video on the E50 as a review if you want a comparison. And my latest UK spec one was this Audi A6 Avant, shown here on the right. Anyway, until next time, look after yourselves and have a good one.